The Cursed Farmhouse. In the small town of Ravenwood, nestled just off the haunted road of hell, stood a dilapidated farmhouse that had been abandoned for decades. The locals spoke in hushed tones about the cursed property and the family that had once called it home. In the 1950s, the Johnson family, eager to start a new life, moved into the secluded farmhouse. It was a picturesque setting, surrounded by rolling fields and a dense, ominous forest. The family was initially overjoyed with their new home, blissfully unaware of the dark secrets it concealed. Shortly after settling in, the Johnsons began to experience strange and terrifying phenomena. Disembodied voices echoed through the halls. Objects moved of their own accord, and chilling apparitions appeared in the dark corners of their home. As the paranormal events escalated in intensity, the family found themselves tormented by an unseen force that seemed intent on driving them from their new home. Desperate for relief, the Johnsons sought the help of a local psychic named Madame Rose. As she entered the farmhouse, she was immediately struck by a palpable sense of dread, an overwhelming malevolence that seemed to permeate the very walls of the house. She conducted a seance, helping to communicate with the spirits that resided within the home, and discovered a horrifying truth. The farmhouse had been built upon an ancient burial ground, where the restless spirits of the dead had been disturbed by the construction of the house. These spirits had been awakened, their anger and sorrow manifesting in the terrifying paranormal events that plagued the Johnson family. Armed with this knowledge, the family made the difficult decision to abandon their home, unwilling to live in a place that harbored such darkness. They packed their belongings and left in haste, never looking back at the cursed farmhouse that had once held so much promise. As the years passed, the farmhouse fell further into disrepair, a crumbling monument to the tragic events that had transpired within its walls. Passers-by reported seeing ghostly figures in the windows, hearing anguished wails echoing through the night, and feeling a malevolent presence watching them from the shadows. Though many were tempted to tear down the farmhouse and rid the town of its dark legacy, a lingering sense of dread held them back. They feared that by doing so, they would unleash the spirits trapped within the cursed property, dooming the town to an eternity of torment. And so the cursed farmhouse remains, an ominous reminder of the darkness that lurks just beneath the surface of the haunted road of hell. Its rotting walls and shattered windows stand as a testament to the power of the supernatural world, a world that exists just beyond the veil of our own, waiting to reveal itself to those who dare to venture too close. The legend of the Cursed Farmhouse continued to haunt the town of Ravenwood. As years turned to decades, the once thriving community became a shadow of its former self, plagued by a sense of impending doom that hung over the town like a heavy fog. Whispers of the haunted farm spread far and wide, drawing in curious thrill-seekers and paranormal investigators from across the country. Many of them ventured into the decaying structure, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural world that lingered within its crumbling walls. Some left unscathed, their skepticism unshaken, while others were forever changed by the chilling encounters they experienced in the darkened halls of the cursed property. As the farmhouse continued to decay, its haunted legacy began to seep into the very soil of Ravenwood. The town's once lush fields grew barren, and the once bustling streets were now eerily quiet, as if the townspeople were holding their breath, waiting for some unknown terror to strike. Among the dwindling population of Ravenwood, a small group of individuals resolved to confront the darkness that had consumed their town. Led by Sarah, a brave young woman whose family had lived in Ravenwood for generations, the group sought to uncover the truth behind the cursed farmhouse and put an end to its reign of terror. The group delved into the history of the ancient burial ground upon which the farmhouse had been built, helping to find a way to appease the restless spirits that had been disturbed by the house's construction. They discovered that the burial ground belonged to a long-forgotten tribe, who had once revered the land as sacred and had performed ritualistic ceremonies to honor their dead. Believing that they could put the spirits to rest by performing a similar ceremony, the group gathered in the shadow of the cursed farmhouse on a moonless night. As they chanted ancient prayers and performed the sacred rites, they felt the oppressive atmosphere that had hung over the town for so long begin to lift. With the spirits of the burial ground appeased, The cursed farm seemed to lose its hold on the town of Ravenwood. The fields grew fertile once more, and the town slowly began to return to life, as if awakening from a long dark slumber. Though the cursed farm still stands, a decaying monument to the darkness that once consumed the town, the spirits that once haunted its halls have found peace. The haunted road of hell, which had once been a place of terror and despair, now stands as a testament to the power of hope and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable darkness. In the end, the people of Ravenwood had conquered their fears, reclaiming their town from the grip of the supernatural world. And though they would never forget the chilling events that had unfolded in the shadow of the Cursed Farmhouse, they knew that they had emerged strong in the Phantom Hitchhiker. It was the summer of '79, and life seemed full of promise for Brad and Samantha, a young couple deeply in love. One fateful night, they decided to take a leisurely drive down the haunted road of hell, a stretch of highway notorious for its bizarre and eerie occurrences. The moon was hidden behind a thick layer of clouds, casting an unsettling darkness over the desolate landscape. As they cruised along, their headlights caught a glimpse of a solitary figure standing by the side of the road. It was a girl, no older than teen, wearing a vintage dress with a faded floral pattern. Brad pulled over. Samantha rolled down her window, asking the girl if she needed help. The girl, with a soft, almost ethereal voice, claimed to be lost and requested a ride to her home, a remote house not far from the road. Feeling compassionate, the couple agreed to help the mysterious girl. As she climbed into the back seat, Samantha noticed that the girl seemed unusually cold to the touch. The ride continued with an eerie silence, broken only by the girl's occasional directions. Finally, they arrived at a dilapidated old house, hidden behind a curtain of gnarled trees. The girl thanked them for the ride and began to exit the car. But when Brad glanced in the rearview mirror, he saw that she had vanished without a trace. In disbelief, he and Samantha searched the car and its surroundings, but there was no sign of the hitchhiker. Unsettled and seeking answers, the couple knocked on the door of the house, hoping to find some explanation for the girl's disappearance. An elderly woman answered, her eyes worn with the weight of 1,000 sorrows. When they described the girl, the woman's face turned ashen, and tears welled up in her eyes. She told them the tragic tale of her daughter, Emily, who had died in a car accident on the haunted road of hell years ago. Since her death, Emily had been appearing to drivers, guiding them to her former home in an endless quest for solace. The woman, consumed by grief, urged the couple to leave and never return. Haunted by their encounter with the Phantom Hitchhiker, Brad and Samantha vowed to never speak of that night again, but the memory of the girl in the vintage dress remained etched in their minds, a chilling reminder of the restless spirits that wander the haunted road of hell. As the weeks went by, Brad and Samantha tried their best to move past the chilling encounter with the Phantom Hitchhiker. They immersed themselves in their daily routines, hoping that the normalcy of life would erase the lingering dread that gnawed at their souls. Yet, it seemed as if the memory of that night would never fade. One evening, as the couple prepared for bed, Samantha noticed a familiar scent drifting through their bedroom. It was the same faintly sweet fragrance that had lingered in the air the night they had picked up Emily. Her heart raced as she looked around the room, half expecting to see the ghostly girl appear before her. But the room remained empty, and she tried to convince herself it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. Over time, the couple began to notice other strange occurrences in their home. Objects would move or disappear, only to reappear in unexpected places. Whispers echoed through the hallways when no one else was home, and an inexplicable chill seemed to settle in their bones as the haunting events escalated. Brad and Samantha could no longer ignore the truth. They were not alone. In desperation, they sought the help of a renowned psychic, hoping to rid their home of the unwanted spirit. The psychic, a wise and enigmatic woman named Madame Lenore, agreed to perform a seance in their home, attempting to communicate with the restless spirit. As they sat in the dimly lit room, Madame Lenore called out to Emily, urging her to reveal herself. The air grew cold, and an eerie silence enveloped the room. Suddenly, a ghostly figure materialized before them, her translucent form still dressed in the faded floral pattern of her vintage dress. Madame Lenore spoke gently to Lady Emily, asking her why she had chosen to haunt Brad and Samantha's home. Emily, her voice trembling with sorrow, revealed that she felt a connection to the couple, as they had been the first to show her kindness and understanding since her untimely death. Lost and tormented by her inability to move on, Emily had sought solace in their presence, unintentionally causing them distress, feeling sympathy for the troubled spirit. Madame Lenore guided Emily through a process of acceptance and forgiveness, helping her come to terms with her tragic fate. As Emily's spirit gradually found peace, the haunting occurrences in Brad and Samantha's home began to subside. With the assistance of Madame Lenore, Emily was finally able to cross over to the other side, leaving Brad and Samantha's lives forever. The couple found solace in knowing that they had helped a lost soul find peace, but the haunting memories of their encounter with the Phantom Hitchhiker would remain with them for the rest of their days. And every time they passed the haunted road of hell, they couldn't help but feel a shiver run down their spines, a chilling reminder of the restless spirits that still wandered its desolate path. The Screaming Bridge. In the small town of Blackwood Falls, a group of friends found themselves drawn to the sinister tales of the haunted road of hell. Among the many chilling legends, one story stood out to them: the Screaming Bridge. The bridge was said to be haunted by the spirit of a woman who had met a tragic end decades earlier. Intrigued and eager for a thrill, they decided to investigate the bridge on a foggy autumn night. Miss Mason, the unofficial leader of the group, led his friends Emily, Jake, and Lucy through the dense fog. The ghostly mist swirled around them, transforming the familiar landscape into a surreal nightmare. As they approached the Screaming Bridge, the air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled over the group. No sooner had they set foot on the bridge than they heard it, a blood-curdling scream that through the fog, piercing their very souls. Their hearts raced and adrenaline surged through their veins as they stared into the murky abyss, trying to locate the source of the scream. Suddenly, a figure appeared hanging from the bridge, swaying gently in the breeze. Terrified, Mason pulled out his phone and dialed the police, his hands shaking uncontrollably. As they waited for help to arrive, the friends huddled together, unable to tear their eyes away from the horrific sight. But as the police sirens drew near, the figure vanished, leaving no trace of its existence. The police, skeptical of the friend's story, searched the area but found no evidence of the apparition, as they dismissed the group with a warning not to waste their time on such foolish pranks. The friends couldn't shake the feeling that they had stumbled upon something far more sinister than they had ever imagined. Determined to uncover the truth, the friends began to research the Screaming Bridge's history. They discovered that a young woman named Abigail had been brutally murdered by her jealous lover on that very spot, her body discarded in the river below. Abigail's spirit was said to haunt the bridge, forever seeking help from the living to bring her killer to justice. As the friends delved deeper into the mystery, they began to experience strange occurrences, whispers in the night, shadows moving in the corner of their eyes, and a constant feeling of being watched plagued their every waking moment. With no other choice, the friends sought the help of a local medium, hoping to communicate with Abigail and offer her the peace she so desperately craved. As they conducted a seance on the Screaming Bridge, Abigail's spirit revealed the chilling details of her murder and the identity of her killer, long since dead but never held accountable for his heinous crime. By acknowledging her pain and offering solace, the friends were able to help Abigail's spirit find peace, finally releasing her from the Screaming Bridge's cursed grasp. As they walked away from the bridge, fateful night, they felt a mixture of relief and sorrow, knowing that they had forever changed the course of their lives by venturing into the shadows of the haunted road of hell. In the weeks that followed, the friends found it difficult to return to their normal lives. The chilling memories of the Screaming Bridge haunted their dreams, leaving them restless and on edge. But as time passed, the nightmares began to fade, and the friends sought solace in their shared experience. The once carefree group had become closer than ever, bound by the knowledge of the supernatural world that existed beyond the realm of the living. They spent countless hours discussing the implications of their encounter with Abigail's spirit, pondering the existence of other restless souls that might be wandering the haunted road of hell. Driven by a newfound sense of purpose, the friends decided to form a paranormal investigation team, determined to help other lost spirits find peace. Word of their unusual mission spread quickly, and the people of Blackwood Falls began to approach them with their own stories of hauntings and unexplained phenomena. As they investigated each case, the friends became more adept at communicating with the spirits they encountered. Mason developed a keen intuition for detecting paranormal activity, while Emily's empathic nature allowed her to connect with the emotions of the spirits they encountered. Jake, ever the skeptic, used his logical mind to debunk any non-paranormal explanations, and Lucy's unwavering courage kept the group grounded in even the most terrifying situations. With each successful investigation, the friends gained a deeper understanding of the supernatural world and the restless spirits that inhabited it. They learned that the haunted road of hell was a nexus of spiritual energy drawing lost souls to its dark and twisted path. And as they continued to uncover the tragic stories of those who had walked the road before them, the friends became more determined than ever to offer solace and closure to the spirits they encountered. But as their reputation grew, so too did the darkness that surrounded them. The friends began to realize that their quest to help the spirits of the haunted road of hell had drawn the attention of more malevolent entities, eager to prey on their vulnerabilities. Faced with a new and terrifying challenge, the friends would have to rely on their unbreakable bond to protect themselves from the sinister forces that threatened to consume them. As the shadows of the haunted road of hell continued to encroach upon their lives, the friends found solace in the knowledge that they had each other, and though they knew their journey would be fraught with danger and heartache, they remained steadfast in their mission to bring light to the darkness and offer peace to the restless spirits that haunted the night. The Shadowy Pursuer. It was a dark, moonless night when Hank, an experienced truck driver, found himself traveling down the haunted road of hell. Hank had always been skeptical of the supernatural, dismissing the eerie tales of ghostly hitchhikers and haunted bridges as nothing more than urban legends. He had driven this particular stretch of highway countless times before, and he believed that tonight's journey would be no different. As he cruised along the desolate road, he couldn't help but feel a strange sense of unease. The inky blackness of the night seemed to envelop his truck, and the shadows danced in his peripheral vision, as if trying to lure him into their murky embrace. He shook off the sensation, chalking it up to his overactive imagination. As the miles ticked by, Hank noticed a dark figure in his rearview mirror. It appeared to be a man shrouded in shadow, standing on the side of the road. Unnerved but determined to keep his focus, Hank continued driving, hoping to leave the unsettling apparition behind. But as he increased his speed, he noticed that the figure was keeping pace, growing closer with every passing mile. The shadowy figure seemed to defy the laws of physics, floating effortlessly through the night. As it drew ever nearer to Hank's truck, panic began to claw its way into Hank's chest as he realized that whatever was following him was not of this world. In a desperate attempt to escape, he slammed his foot on the accelerator, sending the truck hurtling down the haunted highway at breakneck speed. But no matter how fast he drove, the shadowy figure remained in hot pursuit, its dark form hovering just inches behind his truck. In a moment of sheer terror, Hank swerved off the road, his truck crashing into a tree with a deafening crunch. As the world around him went black, Hank's last thought was of the sinister figure that had driven him to the brink of destruction. When Hank awoke in the hospital, he was relieved to find that the shadowy figure had vanished. As he recounted his harrowing tale, he discovered that other drivers had experienced similar encounters with the dark apparition, which locals believed to be the vengeful spirit of a hit-and-run victim. The spirit was said to wander the haunted road of hell, seeking retribution against those who dared to traverse its haunted path. Though Hank had survived his encounter with the Shadowy Pursuer, he could not shake the memory of that fateful night. His skepticism had been shattered, replaced by the chilling knowledge that the supernatural world was very real, very dangerous, and though he would eventually return to his life on the road, he vowed to never again travel down the haunted road of hell, forever haunted by the sinister presence that lurked in its shadows, haunted by his encounter with the Shadowy Pursuer. Hank found it difficult to return to his normal life. Nightmares plagued his sleep, and his once steely nerves now trembled at the slightest provocation. The open road, which had once been his sanctuary, now seemed to be teeming with hidden dangers lurking just beyond the edge of his headlights. Despite his fears, Hank knew he couldn't avoid the road forever. It was his livelihood, the lifeblood that kept him afloat. So, he mustered the courage to climb back behind the wheel, taking on shorter routes and avoiding the haunted road of hell at all costs. As the weeks turned to months, Hank began to slowly regain his confidence. The memories of that terrifying night, while never fully fading, receded into the background, allowing him to focus on the task at hand. He even found himself developing a morbid curiosity about the Shadowy Pursuer and the other spirits that haunted the haunted road of hell. One day, during a rare moment of downtime, Hank stumbled upon a small group of paranormal investigators in a local diner. Intrigued, he struck up a conversation, and before long, he found himself sharing his harrowing experience with the Shadowy Pursuer. The investigators, captivated by his story, suggested that Hank join them on their next investigation. Hank hesitated, wondering if he was truly prepared to confront the supernatural world once more, but ultimately he agreed, hoping that by doing so, he might find some answers and perhaps even some closure. Together with the paranormal investigators, Hank explored the haunted sites along the haunted road of hell, delving deeper into the area's dark history. As they encountered other restless spirits, Hank discovered that he possessed an uncanny ability to sense their presence, a gift that proved invaluable to the investigators. In time, Hank became an integral part of the team, using his newfound abilities to help countless lost souls find peace. Though he never again crossed paths with the Shadowy Pursuer, he remained vigilant, always wary of the darkness that hid just beyond the reach of his headlights. As he journeyed down the endless highways, Hank found solace in his newfound purpose. He had become a guardian of sorts, a protector of the living and the dead, walking the line between two worlds. And though he knew that the specter of the Shadowy Pursuer would forever haunt his dreams, he had found a way to channel his fear into something greater, a beacon of light that pierced the darkness of the haunted road of hell. The tragic accident. The haunted road of hell had always been a source of fear and fascination for the people of the small town of Westbrook. It was a place of chilling legends and unspeakable horrors, a road where the veil between the living and the dead seemed to grow thin, allowing the restless spirits of the past to slip through the cracks. A group of daring teenagers, eager to test their bravery, decided to embark on a midnight drive down the haunted road of hell. They laughed off the eerie tales that had circulated about the road for decades. Dismissing them as nothing more than superstition and folklore, they piled into their car, the engine roaring to life as they sped off into the inky blackness of the night. As they raced down the haunted highway, the teens reveled in their sense of invincibility, convinced that they were untouchable in the face of the unknown. But as they rounded a blind curve, their laughter turned to screams of terror. They lost control of the car, skidding across the slick pavement and crashing headlong into an oncoming vehicle. The impact was devastating, claiming the lives of everyone involved in the accident. In an instant, the road that had once been a source of excitement and adventure had become the site of a tragedy that would forever haunt the town of Westbrook. In the wake of the crash, locals began to report strange occurrences along the haunted road of hell. Mysterious lights appeared in the darkness, flickering like ghostly lanterns and casting eerie shadows across the pavement. The mournful cries of the accident's victims echoed through the night, a haunting reminder of the tragedy that had transpired on the winding, treacherous road. Many believed that the spirits of the deceased teenagers had returned to the haunted road of hell, their souls trapped in a purgative limbo, Some claimed that the restless spirits lingered on the road as a warning, a cautionary tale to others who dared to test their courage on the haunted highway. As the years passed, the story of the tragic accident became a chilling part of Westbrook's history, a somber reminder of the dangers that lurked on the haunted road of hell. Parents whispered the tale to their children as a warning, and even the bravest of thrill-seekers hesitated before venturing down the cursed road. And so, the haunted road of hell remains shrouded in darkness and mystery, a place where the spirits of the past continue to roam, their mournful cries echoing through the night. It stands as a testament to the power of the supernatural world, a world that exists just beyond the edge of our own, waiting to ensnare those who dare to test its boundaries. Over time, the story of the tragic accident on the haunted road of hell became ingrained in the collective memory of Westbrook. The generations that followed were raised on the chilling tale, a warning against tempting fate and underestimating the power of the supernatural world. One fateful night, a group of young adults, descendants of the original victims, decided to face their fears and confront the haunted legacy that had hung over their families for so long. They believed that by retracing the path of their ill-fated ancestors, they might find a way to free the trapped spirits and bring closure to the lingering pain that haunted their families. Armed with determination and a sense of duty, they set off down the haunted road of hell just as the clock struck midnight. They drove cautiously, the weight of their mission bearing down on them as they navigated the same treacherous curve that had claimed the lives of their relatives so many years before. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, they began to sense the presence of the restless spirits that roamed the road. They saw the mysterious lights flickering in the distance, heard the eerie cries that echoed through the night. A palpable sense of sorrow and anguish filled the air, a testament to the tragedy that had unfolded there. Guided by their intuition, the group stopped at the site of the accident, feeling a connection to the lost souls that lingered there. They held a vigil, lighting candles and speaking words of love and forgiveness, hoping to guide the spirits toward the light and help them find peace. As they stood there, the atmosphere around them began to change. The oppressive weight of sorrow and despair seemed to lift, replaced by a sense of calm and serenity. The flickering lights grew brighter, the cries of the spirits more distant, as if they were finally being released from their earthly bonds. When they returned to Westbrook, the group shared their experience with the townspeople, their story bringing a sense of hope and healing to the community. The haunted road of hell, once a place of fear and tragedy, had become a symbol of redemption and the power of love to overcome even the darkest of shadows. Though the road would always carry the memory of the tragic accident, it had been transformed, the spirits of the past finally finding peace in the light. The town of Westbrook, once bound by the weight of its haunted legacy, had been set free, ready to embrace a new chapter in its history, one filled with hope and the promise of a brighter future.